Well, sales of it is done. Did pretty good, especially considered they did charge me for a spot. And I was one of about maybe 5 or 6 vendors. So definitely, it was a really good thing. Oh my gosh, cost me time and money to make my product and get there and set up, and plenty of time. And you can't ask for better than that, and it's such a blessing. This is the third time that I have I've sold to this place, and I'm looking forward to continuing the relationship. So I make this video for you guys just to consider. So if you have a product, say like Boozy Bee or Farmers Market, or you're selling something you think that other people would want. Say for instance, I have a friend who's also a state employee. She sells soy wax products, scented soy, to get rid of some of the paraffins and things like that. So it's a soy candle product for wax melters. And then another one that I recently met, she makes little dog clothes for Yorkies and things like that. And they both been on the circuit. They've both done these things. And if I had to say any advice for anyone to go out and do this, one, figure out your setup, plan it out before you go there. That's the first thing. Make a good plan. That is always, hands down, the best way to do it. You have to have a good plan on how you're going to look. Second off, understand the intentions of your host. For instance, let's see, my last one was a fairgrounds, and it was run by a city park, and I was in a barn instead of in a winery like today. So entirely different settings. I was outside. It was hotter than hell. This one, because they were thinking of me, they said, well, why don't, because it's not as hot as it was, but instead of you being outside in the heat, because it did get a little warm today, why don't you come inside and you can work in the air conditioning and people standing around and coming by, and you can make some sales from there. Now I'm like, yes, sir, thank you. And it was good. It did not hurt me at all to have a vent right underneath my seat. So at that winery, it was pumping air and I was comfortable. And compared to the last couple of times I've sold things, it was definitely comfortable. So there's that. Again, make a plan, know the host's intentions, where you're going to be. Also, 3, understand the conditions you're going to be working in. Is it a winery? Is it a barn on a big park? Is it a big convention hall where you're going to be there with, 15 or 20 other vendors, and you're going to be in an open space? Because that affects your plan. The other part of that is that with it affecting your plan, then you have to think about your setup. What are you going to have? Are you going to need tables? Are you going to need chairs? Are they going to provide both the same? Are they going to charge you to have that? And then the third part is, fourth part, is going to be, how much is it going to cost you to be in that space? For instance, today, gratis, free, wonderful blessing, like I said. Last one, it was $43 for 4 days, which is huge. And then the one before that was $150. And it is what it is. If you want to get your product out, that's the next thing. If you want to get your product out, you're going to go to these places and you're going to do the work. Now, finally, once you get set up and you make it work, don't be discouraged about having to make changes. Changes are necessary for sales, for productivity, and for functionality. Because if things don't work while you're trying to make a sale, it's like hangers or banners or chairs or tables, things that don't work, you're not going to work it out. And then the first few times that you do it, you're probably going to change things as you go until you get to a certain point to where you're comfortable. And so I know this is a long video, but these are some points to consider if you're going to have a product made by your small business, or you're going to sell a product that you get wholesale from another thing like coffee or candles or whatever. You have to think about those things. And if you got any questions about some of these things, my next one's coming up. I have a, let's see, I have a big hunting and fishing festival at which I'm going to be at. And then there's going to be, after that, a wine and art festival. I think there's one more. It's another festival. So that's what's going on. And, you know, tell me some things in the comments. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to do my best. Bye-bye. Sorry, I forgot one of the most important things you can do in doing events, making sales and things like that, is that you have to break even on your registration rate. For instance, if the venue or whoever was the organizer charges you $150 for your space and all, you've got to make the sales to cover that rate. So that means your first goal in setup is to make the money to break even on the event initially. This doesn't count against everything you did to bring the products there, because your inventory can be paid off over time, right? You know, you never know. You just never know. But sorry about that. Wanted you to know that just as a planning point.